Speaking of being a wizard, one guy that he drafted late in the draft a couple of years ago that is really a hit on has been Christian Benford, and he
Yeah.
is our tapped in, brought to you by Thin Man Brewery, our tapped in player for camp the first few days. A guy that we've seen, for us that aren't out at camp, have seen a lot of talk about him as being a lockdown corner. And I want to get your thoughts on Christian Benford's first few days out at camp. He just seems like he's been everywhere.
Yeah, and remember what I said about Khalil Shakir a little while ago? Knows his role,
Yeah.
steady as you go, doesn't make the mistake. He's just right there. That's Christian Benford. It seems like every time I look up, Benford's near the ball. He's making a play on the ball. He's just there. He's a guy that you just trust. We all know that Sean McDermott in this defense, you have to trust guys. That's the biggest, and anything. I always say that's the biggest word for Sean McDermott if you're going to play. It's trust.
Yep.
They trust this guy so much. I mean, the organization gave him a nice contract extension at the end of the season. Christian Benford, you think about this guy's journey. 6th round pick from Villanova, right? Mm-hmm. To be where he is right now. Crazy. And he's not getting the hype and the accolades around the league because Christian Benford means something different to the Bills than he would to a lot of other teams in this league. Mm-hmm. If you go put Christian Benford on a team, there's going to be a super heavy man-to-man team and look for interceptions all over the place. That's not his game. He's going to be around the ball. He's going to be making plays, but this guy is super cerebral. He understands zone concepts. He ran it in Villanova. That's a big reason the Bills brought him in here. Think about the dichotomy between Kyrie Elam and Christian Benford. This is part of the reason Kyrie never hit with the Bills, right? We've talked about this. Maybe the system fit wasn't where they wanted. Christian, he kind of understood already coming into this league how to play in this type of defense. And then he's just taken it up a notch. And what I love about Christian Benford is a little bit even more off the field. He's a tireless worker, Eric. Like he's always staying extra. He's always out there doing a little bit more, working on the jugs machine, working his footwork after practice. He's with other DBs. He's with wide receivers. He's always talking with wide receivers about hand placement. They're helping each other. I really love that about Christian Benford. And I just think he's such a steady player. He has missed some time over the years. We know he suffered the concussion at the end of the season last year in the AFC Championship game. He's had a couple other injuries, but I think the Bills feel that, this is a guy that the way he treats his body, those are things that happen in football, but they can trust him. He's going to be available, and he's just been super duper steady.
Yeah, I mean, 6 pass breakups, 2 interceptions last year. He's reliable. You said trust. He's a reliable tackler. Only 3 missed tackles over the last 2 seasons. Number 1 in Havoc rating by Field Vision, which Coach Alexander, he's a guy that I lean on when it comes to defensive play, DB play, and he's involved with Field Vision. And he was the number 1 cornerback in Havoc rating by Field Vision, which is an algorithm that tracks the player impact. And so he's always around the ball, like you said. He's always in phase, and he's a technician. You see him before and after practice out at camp. You can attest to this. He's always working on his craft. He's always working on his hands, his feet. It's very particular. It's very purposeful. His movement is very purposeful prior to practice and also after practice.
Yeah, and Trey's the same way. Trey's always been that way.
Yes.
Trey, that from the minute he walked in, he's always been a guy like that. And I love the relationship and the bond. A lot was talked about Christian and Rasul, right? And they had this really big bond, and it was great. And you see it now happening with Max Hairston as well, especially with Trey. I made a note the other day, little things you pick up on. Every time Tre'Davious White, almost every time, I shouldn't say it that way. Almost every time Tre'Davious White gets subbed out for Max Hairston coming in, they make sure they make eye contact. They pass each other, they give each other a high five, a low five, a fist bump. They say a word or two to each other. Little things like that matter. Like Max Hairston knows Tre'Davious White's not here to hurt me. He's here to help me. Mm-hmm. And how much confidence that can give a young guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so now you're seeing, Christian Benford at practices also kind of passing that on to the other younger guys, Dorian Strong and guys like that. And so I'm excited what Christian Benford has done the first few days, but also what it could do for the Bills defense. They really haven't had a lockdown type corner since Trey. And when Trey was in his heyday, and who knows if they want in certain higher leverage situations, they very well could lock and shadow Christian Benford to the opposing wide receiver that they want to shut down. And so I think with a little more man coverage, as we talked about in the first episode, and the skill set that Christian Benford and trust that he's gained from the staff, they really could rely on him to certain weeks, shadow X player to cut that offense in half and again, make them left-handed and have to run their offense through another player.
Yeah, one philosophy I've seen teams employ over the years too is they might double the team's number one and then put your top corner on team's number
Yeah,
two,
Bill
right? Something
Belichick,
like,
yeah.
yeah, right. Like you'll do something like that. And that's where Benford allows you to do that. If you want to have a guy, you say, you know what, we want to have him lock someone down, but maybe it's not a great matchup against a Justin Jefferson or a Jamar Chase. Well, let's double that guy. Let's put Christian on the other guy, right? I mean, that's where you can start to play with that when you have a guy with that type of skill level.
Totally. So Christian Benford, for the first few days of camp, has been our tapped in player of the week, brought to you by Thin Man Brewery. And if you guys, I know most of you guys are familiar with Thin Man Brewery. Well, typically you hear about Pils Mafia. Well, they're bringing a backup. They're bringing Mafia Light. This is a new beer, a new product that is being pushed out by Thin Man Brewery. It's going to be your new tailgate essential. Mafia Light hits different with just 3.5% ABV and only 80 calories per 12-ounce can. It drinks like water with notes of beer. And as someone who's aging like myself, light beers like this, especially during the summer, are my go-to, especially you're out at the beach or whatever, and it's 90 degrees like we've had this summer. So this is definitely a beer that you can not only drink before the games and tailgate with, but also to enjoy the final days of summer. It's the first craft Pilsner of its kind, brewed and packaged right here in Western New York, a true game changer for local beer lovers. Keep your eyes peeled. Mafia Light invades Buffalo and Rochester markets in early August, just in time for tailgate season. And again, it comes to a point with Christian Benford being the tapped in guy, courtesy of Thin Man Brewery. We're excited about not just the product that Thin Man Brewery is pushing about, but also obviously Christian Benford and what he can do for the Bills scheme and the Bills defense this year. Awesome episode number 2, Sal. Appreciate you joining me this week. We appreciate everyone joining us live here this early morning on Saturday. But if you're catching it later, if you're catching on the audio platforms, we're everywhere, whether it's iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. You can catch this podcast on all podcast platforms, obviously on YouTube as well. And we appreciate everyone joining us live, throwing us some questions, keeping us on track, in the chat room with topics and questions. We appreciate all the engagement and interaction. So on behalf of Turf to Tape, I'm Eric Turner. That's Sal Capaccio, and we'll catch you on the next stream. We'll let you know exactly what dates it's gonna be fluid. This is not gonna be like, hey, every week it's gonna be the same day, but we're gonna try to record each and every week to bring you the access and insight that you can expect.
We're gonna be like the Bills teasing their new uniforms. You just have to kind of watch out for it, right?
Yeah,
when it
exactly.
happens, it happens.
Keep your ears and eyes peeled. We appreciate everyone joining us. Again, I'm Eric. That's Sal. We'll see you next time.